Have you ever been soft ghosted? Do you even know what that is? Well, today on Hot Topics Live podcast, welcome back, or welcome for you new people finding me for the first time. Today on Hot Topics Live podcast dating series, Dating After Divorce, it's my special limited series. We're going to be talking about just that. I'm Kia. I'm a coach. I've been coaching since 2019. I love mindset work and stuff like that, and how to be consistent and, achieve your goals and that kind of stuff. But now I'm using that sort of mindset and those strategies in my own experiences of dating. And um, I think that's so helpful when you can take that information, like the skill set that you have, and apply it in other areas of your life. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm doing it along with you. So I know what it's like. I'm out here doing it. I'm dating. I've talking to lots of guys and I've done lots of rejecting and I've been rejected a few times too. And so I have experience. And as I'm going along with you in this, I'm bringing the things that I'm learning and the things that work and don't work for me. You can try it and hopefully it'll work for you and you will find a partner that is amazing that you align with. And so let's get into it, shall we? So, today I want to talk about soft ghosting. And also, I want to talk about when you should ghost people because I said on a previous episode, and this is episode 10, so there's a bunch of episodes now. You can go back and find in the playlist and watch them all and get up caught up and get up to speed and learn everything I've been experiencing since the summertime, I think, when I launched this. And so, I was saying in those previous episodes, I don't ghost people. I don't ghost people. And truly, I usually don't. But my question for you is, are there times when it is maybe appropriate to ghost someone, right? So we're going to talk about that too. Okay, and one of the big things I want to get into, if you stay tuned till the end, this will be a shorter episode than my regular Hot Topics Live podcast episodes when I have a guest. If you stay to the end, you will find out how to deal with this stuff. So, what works for me and what didn't work for me. And you can choose to use it if you want to. So, let's dive in, shall we? Soft ghosting. Okay. You'll know that you experienced it, right? If you've been talking to somebody and things have been going really good and it's a vibe and you're really happy and things seem to be going really well. And then suddenly they are texting you less or calling you less if you're really old school or suddenly they're just liking posts on your social media, you know, and the normal level of communication is diminishing and you feel it. You feel that energetic shift where this person who was engaged with you, who was like talking, chatting, texting, calling, whatever, planning dates, whatever. I'm a woman, so I date guys who plan dates, but you might be a guy and you might be the one who's planning the dates. And suddenly it doesn't seem like you can lock down a date for when you're going to go out again, or this person's just not picking up your calls or whatever, right? And you're feeling it. You're feeling that in your body, right? So, what tends to happen is if you're not familiar with attachment theory, you have to get familiar with attachment theory. I'm not an expert, but I do know a lot about it. I would recommend you go and follow Thais Gibson at the Personal Development School for attachment theory stuff. She goes really deep. So, but I'm just going to touch on it really quickly. And so there's four main types of attachment styles. There's anxious, there's fearful, there's dismissive avoidant, and there is a disorganized attachment style that's kind of a combo. And then there's really secure, right? And you can have been anxious or any one of them and become secure, right? And you can be a secure attachment style and then just meet that person that triggers up an old wound that you thought was healed, and suddenly you become anxiously attached again, right? In that instance, and you can go back. So it's really an interesting thing to understand when you're dating, because you start to recognize behavior patterns and you see it in other people, and you're like, oh, that person's anxiously attached. And you're probably like, oh, this guy won't leave me alone, or this girl is so clingy and needy. She's probably anxiously attached. It doesn't make her a bad person. It just means you should learn how to deal with an anxiously attached person if you are interested and you want to see where this goes. Now, there comes a point where people really do have to take responsibility for their own attachment style and their triggers and their emotional reactivity. And it's not your responsibility to manage that for them, to co regulate. Although relationships, you do end up co regulating each other a bit, but it is not your responsibility, right? So, understanding though how to engage with a dismissive avoidant, um, will help you be able to navigate that relationship if it's worth it to you. Now, dismissive avoidant attachment styles, they get a bum rap on the internet. So if you see posts about that, if you look in the comments, because I'm on YouTube a lot, I watch YouTube, I'm on it. I see all these negative comments about dismissive avoidance, and they're not bad people. All of these attachment styles have been wounded in their childhood, and they developed unhealthy coping mechanisms for how they attach with people. That's basically it, right? And so they have emotional reactions to certain behaviors that trigger them. We all do in some ways, I think, right? I mean, I do. And the point is, you go through a healing process and you get to a point where you can manage your emotional reactivity. You develop strategies, which is what coaches do. We help you develop strategies to achieve a certain goal. So I always say, if you're struggling to do something on your own and you can't manage it, get a coach. Get a coach. If you don't know what your attachment style is, if you go to the personal development school, it's by Thais Gibson. It's here on YouTube. She has a quiz, and I am in no way affiliated. I just took some of her courses and I like them, so I'm recommending them, right? But you need to know this attachment theory stuff if you're going to be dating, especially if you've been in a long-term relationship. You probably didn't even think about this stuff. You're probably unaware of it. You've been in a situation that you probably thought was going to be a lifelong situation. And now you find yourself single and you're like, I don't even know how to function in this new digital dating landscape. I hate apps. I don't go out. It's difficult to reestablish yourself in the dating world once you've been in a long-term commitment, right? It's hard, and it's hard out here anyway. You can be the most beautiful woman in the world. It's still going to be hard. You can be the sexiest, richest guy. It's still going to be hard because all of those things have their own challenges. And if you haven't worked on yourself and healed yourself and know your attachment style and know your triggers, you're going to push people away without even realizing it. So let's go back to soft ghosting. Okay. Soft ghosting really occurs, like I said earlier, when someone starts like slowly falling off. That's what I call it. They're just like falling off, right? They're suddenly, first they were super engaged and they were into connecting with you and making plans and all of that. And suddenly you start to feel, hmm, this person seems less engaged than they were before, right? That is soft ghosting. And eventually, if you do nothing, they'll be gone. They'll just poof, be gone out of your life. Okay, so I want to tell you how to handle it. Okay. Recognizing it early is key. So you have to be aware of, what the norm is for your connection. And then when you feel a change in it, don't automatically react. Give it some time because you never know what's going on in someone else's life. I hear a lot of times if he wanted to, he would. I say that because I'm a woman and I date men, but you can date whatever you want. Typically the masculine energy, right? And I hear that a lot. And I'm like, but you never know what's going on in someone else's life. right? And the tendency when that happens, when you feel someone withdrawing, is for you to lean in and want to take action and close the gap, especially if you're a woman and especially if you have an anxious attachment style, right? So, what I'm going to tell you is really simple. Don't do that. And I know you've heard that before, but wait, I'm going to go a step further. I'm going to go a step further. Give it some time. And you need to really, during this time where you are not um, connecting with this person, you're just kind of watching and observing their behavior. You need to really think about what your needs are and what you want. Okay. And then you decide on a time frame. So you give it a deadline. Let's just say a week. So this person I've been talking to, they are suddenly acting weird to me, right? They're suddenly before they were checking in with me every couple of days and we were talking a lot and we were planning dates and everything like that and we were making future plans and then suddenly this is hypothetical. And then suddenly they are not talking to me as much. They're not checking out my Instagram. They're not following my stories and putting hearts on them, whatever. And suddenly I'm feeling it. So what I'm going to do, what you're going to do is you're going to decide, okay, I'm not going to freak out. I'm not going to assume the worst. I'm not going to start overthinking it and catastrophizing. That was last week's episode. So go back and watch that one. And I'm going to just pause and I'm going to get my own emotional reactivity in check. And I'm not going to freak out and assume that it's about me because you never know what's going on in someone else's life. But then you say, right, well, I'll just text him or her and ask if everything's okay. Don't do that either. Don't do that either, right? You're not going to do that. You're going to decide on a time frame. Let's say a week. Okay? So you say, okay, I'm going to observe how this person is behaving for the next week or the next 3-4 days. And during that time, I'm going to refocus my energy on my own life. Maybe I'll do something I haven't done in a while, like ice skate, or I'll go to the gym a little bit extra, or I'll paint or something, whatever you do, go to the spa. I don't know. I'll go shopping, hang out with your kids, whatever. Focus on something else. Okay, during that time period. And then, right, when you decide that you're kind of refocused on yourself and you're not pouring all your energy in that person's direction, you're going to address it. Now, a lot of people say when people pull away, don't do anything, just give them distance. And you're giving them distance. First, you give them a little distance. But then what you're going to do is address it because that's what a secure person would do. You don't have to be needy in the way you address it. You're going to address it, with calmness and compassion and maybe even some humor and be willing to accept that maybe this is not the connection, right? But you're going to address it with them. You just say something like, hey, you know what? I'm feeling a shift in energy. I think you're great. So we call this a shit sandwich when I'm coaching and I have to give criticism to my students. Okay. So, and that's what I like to do. So you tell them, hi, I think you're great, and so it's two nice things and the difficult thing in the middle. All right. And so I think you're great. I think you're amazing. I've been having a really fun time with you, but I noticed that you seem a little bit more distant than before. And if you have stuff going on in your life, that's totally cool, whatever. I just want to check in with you. If you're not feeling the connection, that's totally okay. But I just want to be respectful of your time and mine, or something like that. It doesn't have to be word for word, but something along those lines where you're stating your need. You're telling them you want to be respectful of your time. You're holding that boundary for yourself, right? And you're saying, hey, if you just need some time and space, that's cool. But let's talk about it. Let's, talk about it. And so one of two things are going to happen. And I'll be very honest with you. Either you're not going to hear anything at all, and there's your answer. Silence is an answer. Or the person is going to say, hey, this is what's up. Hey, no, this is going on in my life. And at that point you can say, well, I understand that. Like, how can I support you? Or like, whatever, but you'll talk about it is my point. if the person's really feeling you and into it. And if they're not, you're going to find out way faster than sitting at home, freaking out, being emotionally reactive, overthinking, catastrophizing, and whatever else goes on when you feel like somebody's being distant with you or pulling away, or falling off, like I like to say. And sometimes we have to let them fall, and sometimes you can just talk to the people, just talk to them, and they will be understanding and have that conversation with you. And sometimes they'll have the conversation with you and it won't be something that you want to hear. You will hear, yeah, I don't think we align or whatever. If it's a real mature, emotionally intelligent person, they will respond to that message. If you do it with compassion, with humor, and with advocating for your own needs, because that's really important, especially now. We're too old to be like playing games with people, right? If you're past 40, you don't have time to be wasting on playboys and playgirls. And honestly, if people are playing games at this age, it's pathetic. It is pathetic, right? You might be looking for, and if you're above 45, you might be looking for the last person you ever like fall in love with or be with in your life. And so you have to cut people loose and be willing to let people go who aren't in alignment with your values and what you're looking for your future, right? No matter how old you are, really, that's true. But it gets more pressing the older you get, right? So, like I said, don't let it erode your confidence. You're amazing. You're unique, you're beautiful, you are fun, you're charming, you're sexy in your own way, right? And you don't need to let people erode your confidence because they don't see the value that you bring to the table. And chances are it's more about them than it is about you. When it doesn't work out for me, and I know this is silly, I always say it's them, it's not me. Right? Like, so just don't let it erode your confidence. It's sad if you feel sad, like give it a day. If you need to shed a tear, but move on. There are 7 billion people in the world. You can find another one to go out with, actually, or take a break. Like I said before, if dating is overwhelming you, take a break, focus on your own life, do cool stuff with your friends and your family or on your own, and then resume dating when you're feeling it again. Sometimes I take a break through the winter because it's winter. I live where it rains a lot. I'm like, I don't want to be going out a lot anyway. So I'll start dating again in the spring, right? If I haven't found someone. Right now, I'm kind of talking to some people, like, and I'm trying to see who I want to spend more time with, right? But for you, you choose what you want to do. If you're exhausted of it, don't do it. If you feel like you want to hang out and connect with people, definitely do it, because you can meet people. And I know that the rap for online dating is really bad, but I do think you can meet someone online. Let's face it, most marriages are happening online now. Most relationships are happening online. The thing is there is a lot of obstacles, which I'll talk about on another episode, but you just have to be willing to meet and talk to a lot of people, even if it's just texting them. You have to be open to it and just consider talking to them, texting them, meeting them. Obviously, remain safe, right? But you just have to talk to a lot of people. It's just like sales. Look at it like a job. You know, you're interviewing for your next life partner, right? So if you only talk to one person and it doesn't work out, then you just give up, right? You have to keep talking to people. And I know a lot of women are like, "Oh, I just, I want that one person that I'm going to just lock eyes with and it's going to be amazing." But that's really unrealistic. Okay? Like sometimes that can happen, but it's pretty rare. Usually, you need to meet people. You need to put yourself in places with the kind of people you want to meet are. So, if you want those wealthy men, for example, you better be at the golf club or playing tennis or at some country club where they are. Okay. You look beautiful and you put yourself in the environment where the people you want to meet are. And then you mingle and you talk to them. And eventually, the more people you talk to, someone's going to ask you out and you're going to go. It's just that simple, right? So again, remember, don't let soft ghosting erode your self-confidence. Just address it before it gets out of hand. And if the person doesn't respond, okay, that's your answer. Right? But chances are they will, and you'll talk about it, and you'll either part ways really nicely, or you'll continue seeing each other, and maybe they're just a dismissive avoidant, right? And they were just feeling overwhelmed by all of that connection and needed a break. Right? And so they kind of pulled back without even recognizing it because it's unconscious. And so when you call it out in a kind, compassionate, and maybe even humorous way, they will go, "Oh, okay." They'll respond to that, right? So thank you, Allie. I appreciate you. By the way, if you're watching this live, you can comment, you can ask questions on Hot Topics Live podcast or this special dating series I'm doing. You can be part of the show if you participate. So thank you, Allie. I appreciate you. This is my first time doing this on Facebook too, by the way. So I hope you enjoy it. 111 on my timer. So anyway, so to wrap this up, I want to talk about one more thing. I'm just looking at my notes. Um, and it's when you should ghost somebody. Okay. So, like I said earlier, I typically don't ghost people. I think it's incredibly rude. Okay. But there is a time where I have learned through my experiences of dating this summer and this fall is there is an appropriate time to ghost someone. Okay. So I'm going to reverse my previous statement of how I said, I never ghost anybody, right? No, because when I feel people pulling away, or if I feel like it's not working out, I talk to them. I will text them, I'll call them, whatever the case. I got hair on my lip gloss. So, so you ladies know how annoying that is. So there is a time when you should go someone. And there's two times when I think that it's kind of appropriate to ghost somebody. And that is when the person has been disrespectful towards you in some way, right? So, and you have to be sure that it's disrespect. So, like if a person doesn't respond to your text and you try to reach out to them and then they're just not responding, in like a timely way, I think that's kind of like you address it and it doesn't change. You can, I don't waste any more time with that. Or if someone falsely represents themselves and they portray themselves as someone that they really aren't or who they were. 'Cause if you're older, you got a lot of people who will show you their like younger self, but then when you meet them, they're not that person that they portrayed in the pictures or whatever. So that's why I like to do video chats a lot of times before I'll go out with someone in on a live date. Not always, but sometimes. So if I'm unsure, I'll do a video date first on Zoom. But anyway, so that's one time when someone falsely represents themselves, and I find that disrespectful. So I feel like if you're disrespecting me, you don't have any right to my respect. So, and I find ghosting incredibly disrespectful. So if you're disrespecting me and I have like calmly tried to discuss it with you in an emotionally safe way, and you are still being disrespectful, I will not tolerate that, and you shouldn't either. Right? So if there's ever a time to ghost someone, it's when they're being disrespectful. Okay? That's it. All right. So don't let people disrespect you. And the bad people out there, because there are many bad people out there, the bad people out there cannot become a toxic partner to you if you don't let them. Okay. So maybe ghosting that person and blocking their number is a good idea. Right. So just consider that. I don't soft ghost people, but I definitely will ghost someone now if I feel disrespected. And so, with that, I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching this episode. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate your time. Time is the most valuable thing we have in this life. And that you shared it with me means more than you can imagine. I hope that you will go to Hot Topics Live podcast on YouTube, on Facebook, and check it out. Like, just find us on there, find me on there. I do interviews as well with people. If you'd like to share a topic or you have a request for a topic, that's why it's called Hot Topics Live, because I like to talk about all different types of topics. Definitely go on there, YouTube, subscribe, click the thumbs up, set your notifications so you know when I come live. I pop on here all the time, like at least a couple times a month, whether it's an interview or this dating series. And guess what? I have a new series coming, and it's with a male coach, and we're going to talk dating deeper, like female coach and a male coach talking dating after divorce. That's what we're going to be talking about on the next series. I think I'm going to do a few more of these just solo, and then we're going to move on to that one. So go and subscribe on YouTube or follow on Facebook so that you know when I come live, set your notifications. And if you want to be part of the show, you just drop a comment or a question, just like Allie did. Thanks for that. I appreciate you. And you're part of the group. Back in the day, we used to call them hotties. I'll call my loves, all of you. I appreciate you. And if you want to know more about me, you can follow me in all of these places. I am also on TikTok. So that's new. It's new stuff coming out there as well. I really appreciate you. Oh, and I forgot one more thing. At the end of my episodes live, when I have a guest, I do something really special at the end of the show for you. And if you're an esoteric person or a spiritual or religious type of person, you might love that. So go and check that out. You can see it on all the previous episodes on YouTube and Facebook. But if you want it for you, specifically for you, you have to watch live for the new episodes. Okay. So set your notifications, subscribe, all of that stuff. And I'll see you again. I'm going to come live next week. So set your notifications and I'll see you then. But I appreciate you for watching. I'll talk to you next time.